And we're seeing frustration and concern here at home over the invasion, with hundreds of people making their voices heard. All right, this happened just a few hours ago in Studio City. Members of LA's Russian community gathered at the corner of Ventura and Laurel Canyon Boulevard last night to show their support for Ukraine. This is one of many similar demonstrations in California as we all wait to see what happens next. And we're getting some expert help answering that question this morning.
Dr. Andrew Jenks is a professor at Cal State Long Beach and an expert on issues in Eastern Europe. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Dr. Jenks.
Thank you for having me.
Doctor, this is said to be the biggest. I'm going to let you finish that question.
Oh, okay. No worries. We got it. Dr. Jenks, this is said to be the biggest conflict in Europe since World War II. But what does history tell us about what's happening right now?
Well, there is a long-standing tense relationship between this part of the world, Ukraine, and Russia. Ukraine, in particular, the western part of Ukraine, has always been anti-Russian. And there has been a history of conflict, bloody conflict in Ukraine between Russia and the ethnic Ukrainians. So there is a long context, historical context that shapes this conflict. And there are ethnic divisions, there are religious divisions, there are cultural divisions. And so you're going to see a fracturing of Ukraine along all of these divisions as this conflict escalates.
And Doctor, the attack happened after recent weeks of tension. What are some of the key reasons that led up to this?
Well, the key reasons that led up to this have to do mostly with NATO and Russia's fear that NATO is encroaching relentlessly ever eastward toward its borders. And Russia sees NATO as a military alliance which is directed against it. I often tell people, what would the United States feel like if Mexico and Canada joined a military alliance against us? That's how Russians feel with regard to NATO. And the possibility that Ukraine might join NATO was a kind of trigger for this. And when President Biden said that he would not guarantee that Ukraine could not join NATO, that represented a serious escalation of tensions and set into motion eventually the outcome that we see now.
Dr. Jenks, President Biden announced major economic sanctions on Russia yesterday, but can we expect those to have a quick impact? I mean, we're just about 2 days, 48 hours away from Russia pretty much having fully control of Ukraine.
They will have zero impact. Putin has calculated and figured in that the economic pain is something that he is willing to endure. He assembled his elites, many of the oligarchs, and told them that it is their patriotic duty to endure the pain that will come from the sanctions. I would also mention that the sanctions give Putin the ability to point toward the West when his own population complains about the economic pain that they are enduring. He will be able to say, well, it's the West that causes your pain, and it will not recognize our legitimate security needs.
All right, Dr. Jenks, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate it and good to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you. So enlightening.
Thank you for having me.